What's going on, guys? It's Digimon TCG coming to you with a market watch. Now, I apologize for not putting up anything in the last couple of days. I've been pretty sick, and my voice is really raspy and actually kind of hurts to talk. So I'm putting this out here because I've actually been doing some research during the time I've been kind of out and seeing what's doing well in BT11. And something I really think is a good idea is at least informing you on cards that are played in these decks, so that you can pick them up now before the prices skyrocket. These are no particular order. I'm going to go over each card on TCG Player so you can kind of see. And generally just the general ideas, like picking these up before the price skyrockets. When Metal Garurumon X and the X antibody cards were announced for BT9. Back in BT6, BT7, I actually picked up the Were Garurumons and the Garurumons that you play in the deck, the promo ones, for relatively cheap. I think I picked up the entire set for practically $20, which today would be a steal. And then when the decks actually came out, I was one of the first people to play the deck throughout the format. So sometimes you can pick up cards before they skyrocket, and that is what you want to try to do to avoid overspending down the line. With that said, please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts below on what I'd like to see next. So starting off, we're going to go over actually a Mirage Galgamon. Now, if you don't know, a Mirage Galgamon deck actually did top back up in Japan. Now, keep in mind they are a best of one type of format, so a lot of this is based off of not being able to kind of counter or know how to counter initially from what your opponent is doing. And BT best of ones are usually a different type of format than ours. But getting to the card, this card says when a effect adds a card to your opponent's hand on all turns, you gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in their hand. And basically you're able to extend with this card, being able to essentially do multiple things to your opponent, especially when you're getting those 1 memory for every cards in your hand. And Digimon does love to draw, depending on what deck you're playing, of course, in the format. So with that said, basically I'm going to go over some of the cards that are used that we already have out here. And then one of the first ones is the Jellymon from Volume 5 of the tournament pack. And it is the one that basically says if you have a Kiyoshiro, I'm not going to try that last name in play, draw 1, so you can draw 1 when attacking, so it kind of gets you your resources. It's going for $6. It actually is played in all force as well sometimes, depending on the type of deck you're playing, and it has seen a little bit of an increase in price, not too much, but we can see here is relatively cheap currently, and there are plenty on the market, but you do want to kind of pick these up before they go back up. This is a tournament pack card, so once they're out and done, you're not going to get a chance to get them again, so just keep that in mind. Just to kind of show a little bit of a difference, you do also have the Jellymon, that is the alternate art, and this is when an effect adds a card to your hand, you can return one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon, level 3 Digimon to their hand. So there are many cards that adds a card to your hand in the Jellymon deck, especially with some of the cards we're actually getting from BT10. And not only is this an alternate art, but also this will work really well with the Mirage Galgo, because keep in mind, a card that's returned to hand is technically added to their hand by an effect, which Mirage Galgo would kind of gain that effect from being able to gain memory. And remember, this is the once per turn all turns, but it could happen on either turn. It could be your turn or your opponent's turn. And right now, the price does seem to be hiking a little bit, so it is around the $18 mark. There are a lot of listings online, so I wouldn't really worry too much, but there are only a few that are about the 15, and then it jumps to 18, and it's a solid 18 going around the days. And yeah, I mean, there's not many people buying this card right now. You can see over the course of a couple of weeks that it really hasn't moved too much. So you do still have time, obviously. Of course, we are getting BT10 and BT11 probably by February next year, but this is definitely a card I would like to have at least 1 copy of as a collector, but 4 copies, whether it's this version or the regular version of the card, to play if I choose to go the Mirage Galgo route. Another card they play is the Leomon card, and I'm just showing both versions here. You can buy this version. It's pretty easy to get out of Digital Hazard, which is going down in price more and more every day, the closer we get to BT10 and other sets. And you also have the altered alternate art Leomon. Now, I really do like this alternate art. It's probably one of my favorites in the entire set, just of like Leomon holding a little glass there. But it is played, and it is a blocker, and it gains 2 memory on deletion. What's really interesting about the deck in general is it does play some cards that are like the X antibody form. I think it's like Paijomon or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but it's the Leomon that basically you can digivolve onto Leomon, or Paijomon. I don't know the name again, but this is one you may want to consider picking up. It is actually really cheap for $7, so something to think about. Going into the other Leomon, this is actually really interesting. This one is also technically played in the deck as well, because you can on deletion gain 2 memory, and that can extend your plays a little further. You could hard play this. You do play like the girl Jerry to play out a Leomon from your hand. So this is easy way of getting this out. And then if deleted, gain 2 memory. You can swing it to your opponent's security and just like basically be able to kind of continue your plays. If it does get deleted, you gain 2 memory. If it doesn't, then you at the very least have something you can digivolve on top of. We do have the Kiroshiro that is occasionally played, and it's actually been down in price, so this might be a good time to pick it up. I know that again, it's a Volume 5 tournament pack card, and we are closely leaving that era of Digimon, and it has a good effect that if Jellymon is in a source, then you can suspend this tamer to give that Digimon jamming for the turn. So for 3 costs, it's not that bad, and for $7, I actually think it is pretty worth it. There's 36 listings online. I would definitely consider picking up your playset of this card if you don't have one already. This card. So there are a lot of reasons why you should pick this card up, but unfortunately there's reasons not to as well. It's $40. There's a common print. Those are the reasons why you shouldn't necessarily want to pull this card, but it is top rarity as far as it is for $44 and $42. And it is played in a lot of the BT10 decks, including Shoutmon and including decks against Shoutmon, because Shoutmon does play cards by effects for a lot of the time, especially playing the green and yellow tamers that put out their Digimon from that effect. Crimson Blaze kind of stops that, so you can play Crimson Blaze and probably play it pretty cheap against Shoutmon, and then swing into their security, and they hit a tamer, then they can't activate the effects. So it allows you to at least have a few more turns, or your opponent might have to like wait to activate the effects of the tamers and such. This card definitely is worth picking up, but there is a common print, so I really don't think this is worth it. Again, if you're looking to max rarity your deck, you can definitely use this, but it's better off actually trying to sell this if possible, make back some money while you have commons that you can play instead. Now, another deck that actually was topping, or actually a deck I should say is being used for BT10, and if you look at my channel soon, I'll be posting up an updated deck list with this in it, is the Black War Greymon deck. Now, the main reason you're playing this deck is it's an anti-Digicross type of deck, really, because you're killing a lot of the tamers with this card, and then there's nothing for them to really save, so what happens is they just get deleted. You can see over here that there are a decent amount of listings online. 18 is not bad. Kind of cooled down for a while. I know that initially when Black War Greymon support was announced, it was very high, but now it's keeping its price about the $40 mark. And keep in mind that this is actually played for quite a few more formats. Not only is it played in BT10, but it's also played in BT11, because we do get a new Black War Greymon X that you can digivolve on top of him. So just keep that in mind. That you may want to hold on to your alt arts. Not only that, but it is also a fan favorite Digimon, so that is another reason to keep it, or off sell it if you don't. It's up to you. We have I just wanted to compare the Black War Greymon that's alt art to the regular Black War Greymon. It is currently going for about $10. So if you pull BT8, I actually think it's relatively a good set now. Before, I wasn't really too certain because the secrets are really terrible right now from that set. I'm sure if one card comes out and it breaks the entire older mechanics and like, oh, I gotta pick this card up from this set. But Black War Greymon is going for $10 now, and it just seems to be rising every day. No pun intended on Rise Greymon. Yeah, it seems to have reached a max right now around last week at about $11. Pick these up. Have your playset ready. That's all I can say about that. Cool Boy pre-release has been going down, but keep in mind again, I've been looking forward at a few other formats, and Cool Boy is even still played in BT11. I don't know if this card will ever be hit on the ban list that we have. Maybe it'll be restricted to 1 or 2 copies at some point in the future, but Cool Boy is just a very, very powerful card. This is the pre-release stamp one, so you definitely want to offload this if you have the chance. The other one is about $5.50. So again, a very plus $5 rare, super rare that you can get from the set. Definitely worth it, in my opinion, to sell these. If you have a playset of these, you make $20 if you sell them off. I know that I've been making some cash back when I find people who need to play need Cool Boys to play, or making decks for future formats. Now, another card that's being played in the Examon deck in BT11 is the Cordramon, and this is the highest rarity currently. When I think there is going to be one other version coming out soon, but this is the Store Champion one. There are only a few of them out there. It has kind of stabilized down at about the $33-$34 mark. There are only 7 listings, but if you look over here, and I always like to show there is a max rarity and like a sub max rarity right now, and this is the participant version for Store Championships. For about $10, you can pretty much get a hollow foil version of the Cordramon that is played in the deck. If it's hidden security, you can draw 2, and it plays itself out, so you have an extra body on board. Plus, this deck does like to DNA with their level 5s, level 6s, so getting this guy out on the field and having something in raising is actually sometimes a good strategy, and then you can go into your big boys a bit later. Now, this wasn't a card that was necessarily played in BT11, but I thought it was interesting to cover, was Lucemon Chaos Mode. So even, like I said before, BT10 is going to be a big format for Tamers, and there are definitely going to be a couple of different decks that like to kill Tamers. And Lucemon is mainly played in 1 or 2 of those decks. Specifically, the Mastamon deck, of course, is played, and this is actually relatively cheap. It's getting lower and lower. But as you can see here, there is a bit of a curve starting to form. So it may actually start to wind back up once we get into BT 11. Mastamon is going to be still a very powerful deck, and it is getting support down that line. So I'd kind of keep an eye on this card. I wouldn't necessarily buy it right now, but in a few weeks to see where Mastamon falls in the BT11 meta in Japan and other places of the world, that might be something to consider picking up. If it goes below 30, though, I would absolutely just buy it on the spot. That's just me, though. This is also, again, another card that's not necessarily played in really anything, but we know that Lucemon will eventually get an X antibody form, and this is an old version. It's a recovery +1 for potentially a reduced cost of 8, meaning it's a 5 cost to play, and you recover 1. It's a little bit of a better version of the, what's it called? Oh my god, I'm blanking on it. Magna Angemon. This is the alt art version, which is really nice, and you're getting it for literally like half the price it's ever been at. You see over here, it was like $37 3 months ago. If we go even further back, it was $50. It's half that price now, so I would definitely pick these up if you don't have a playset, or at least half playset, just to have. I think this is definitely worth it to pick up. Lady Devimon's, the alternate art version from the BT Volume 4, I think is worth picking up. Again, part of that Mastamon tribe thing. I do think that this is a really great artwork. It's an alternate artwork that we don't have many copies of because it was from the Volume Pack 4, which is now not in as much circulation. And it wasn't one time going for about $20, and it's been dropping smaller, and now it's about $5.50 per copy. So I would definitely consider picking these up if you don't have already. There is also the other Lady Devimon. That's a rare version. I don't know if I can find it right now, but come on, let's go. Let's keep going. Where is it? Let's go to number 3 here. Let's see if we get some purpley good stuff. Yeah, see, I give you guys some live editing all the time. Lilith is definitely not what I'm looking for, but here we go. Here's the Lady Devimon over here, and there's the other Lady Devimon over here. About $1 or $2 cheaper between the two. I mean, get the Lady Devimon. It's the promo pack. I mean, Lady Devimon, either one I think is fine to pick up on all fairness. Let's take a look here. Something happened. I'm not exactly sure. But I do think I know, sort of, I guess. I know and I don't know. I know how good this card is and how good the artwork is for this card. And I know that, like, if you initially, like, there are only 2 copies left on market right now. There were 3 when I started this one, by the way, when I was looking at cards. It were 3 copies, now there's 2. So, it might be toward a buyout. And I'm not sure why people are buying out. I know it's going to be played in basically BT9, 10, EX3, and BT11 format, but I'm not really certain if it's worth this price. So just take that with a grain of salt. Maybe find someone who has a different copy of this, or maybe try to trade for it if you can. But 48, I don't think is worth it. I'm wondering maybe if something else was like announced or not. But you also have this one. This is the pre-release card, and pre-release, again, they don't come once they're out and pre-releases are done. That's all you have. Like, you just have these guys, and this is just a foil version of the regular art card, but you do see it kind of going up in price. So something to think about again. Finally, I'm gonna go over my last area. So for black here, Machine Dramon. Sorry, my voice. Machine Dramon here, classic collection. Worth the pickup right now. I really do think it's going to be a very good competitive deck when we get to BT 11 EX3 formats, because this card is really good for the reduced cost, and with the new Machine Dramon, you can play it out for pretty much free. If you don't know, I have this open over here. Sorry, not the same. I wanted to talk about that deck in a second, but where is it? There's the Machine Dramon. I think it's in this set. Yeah, here we go. So the Machine Dramon in BT11 says, on play and when Digivolving, reveal the top 5. You add a Analog Man, or I think it's Analog Man is the tamer from the set, among them, and 1 Machine Cyborg to your hand, and then trash the rest. And then on deletion, by returning 1 of your Analog Man in play to the bottom of the owner's deck, you may play 1 Machine Dramon from your hand without paying memory costs. So what that means is that if this gets deleted by an effect, which you could technically run into one of your opponent's Digimon, you can play you can use the, where are you here, Analog Man here. You can put him to the bottom of your deck, and then you can basically be able to play the Machine Dramon that I was just on for free, and then because of its effect, you still get the on play, which means you're going to gain 5 memory immediately from that. And then with cards that are, I forgot the name of it, but it allows your level 6 black Machine Digimon to gain Rush. You can attack with the same turn, which can be quite critical to your opponent. There is also the alternate art version of it for 55. It did slim down a little bit. It was at 64 a few weeks ago, and it's just been slowly going down, which I think is worth it now. But you do see there aren't that many copies until we get to 60. It's about like 10 of those, one or the other. Now, one last thing to bring up. Now, I'm also using Digimon Meta as one of the decks or areas here. And I just wanted to show you that this is a first place deck. I actually was looking at different areas of the country, and again, they're best of 1. But keep in mind, this is an X antibody with the ban list in play, and they don't even play the what's it called, Duro Greymon card. They play Hisaryu and Greymon to be able to digivolve into their boss monsters, and they can still win. So I'm not saying it's going to be the best deck of the format, absolutely not, but I'm saying that there is still chance for this deck to be played, even as far as BT11, even with the hits that's gone on the ban list. So it's something just to think about if you are a fan of the deck and you are wanting to continue playing this deck. Now, lastly, over here, I just wanted to show you, this is the set list over here for BT11, in case I forgot anything. Over here, please let me know if there was anything. I've been doing other market watches on the All Force V Dramon and Some other cards. One I was doing a little bit on, where was it here? Um, some of the Justimon stuff. I think that was one of the things I did. But basically, this is really far out for us. That we're way, way far out before this even hits our shelves. But it is always good to prepare, especially if you're looking for promo cards. That is why I kind of like to put these things up as early as I do, so that you can consider picking them up. But again, you don't know what's going to be meta at that time. You don't know if we're going to get another ban list by that time. So that's the grain of salt I would give with you picking up this stuff here. But with that said, if there's something you like, if you're excited and you're like, you know what, I thank you for giving me the advice. But I know I'm going to play Black Hole Greymon, pick up the Black Hole Greymon stuff. Or if you're going to play the Mirage Gagumon, like, oh, I've been waiting for Mirage Gagumon to be competitive again. Can't wait. You're going to do it. Then play it. There are ways you could do that. But with that said, that's all I had for you today. Please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts below on what you'd like to see next. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.